Okay, so we just ended our notes. Let's go over to the skills packet. All right, so let's practice a couple of these together. This video is going to go over skill 1 and skill 2, just to kind of solidify some of the learning that you guys should have done in the notes. So let's blow this up a little bit. Okay, so for skill 1, we're basically just going to count the number of moles of each atom, okay, and then count up all of those moles together. So we have HCl O 3 1 1. This one, you can do it a couple of different ways. I personally like to go left to right, where I can just add them at the end. So I have 1 nitrogen, 4 hydrogen, 2 carbons, 3 hydrogens, and 2 oxygens. So we have 12. This one, magnesium, 1, 2, and 2. This one is a hydrate. So we have to make sure that we include both the hydrogen and the oxygen, making sure that we are using the coefficients. So you can do this one of 2 ways. You can just do 4 times 2, then 4 times 1, just so you can keep it honest with the math. Okay, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Looks organic to me. Okay. One calcium, 2 chlorine, 3 magnesium. So this wanted it atoms, so we're going to abide by that. So we have 1 times 2 potassium, 4 times 2 of oxygen. Oh, that's not right. Delete, delete. This appears to be a hydrocarbon. 1, 2, 3, probably propane. Now, if you noticed, you can do the moles for each atom, which is a good practice to do. Or you can just kind of get into the habit of, there's 1, this has 3. So 1 plus 9 is 10. So let's just double check that by looking at each individual atom. There you go. Another hydrate for you. Okay. So the instructions also ask you to put an M if the substance is molecular or covalent, an I if it's ionic, and H if it's a hydrate. So let's take a look. That's a chlorate ion. So we could call that ionic. This one is 2 polyatomic ions, therefore ionic. This is matched with an OH, which is a hydroxide, ionic. This one's a hydrate, also ionic. This one is, organic acid. That's molecular. Here we got ionic, polyatomic ion, ionic, hydrocarbon, molecular. This, I believe, is cyanide, so that's ionic. And this too is a hydrate and also ionic. Looking at skill 2, and again, if you're not familiar with what these polyatomic ions are, go to table 5, or E rather. So, let's quickly go through this. Personally, if it were me, I would highlight all of my cations. Okay. And in a different color, highlight my anions. Why? Because it's fun. So once you have it highlighted, it's pretty easy to just make the case. And let's see. We have, you can put them in there. Personally, just have to write it over. So NH4, then we have an acetate. Now it's asking how many moles of ions. So this should not be tricky because they're just asking for the polyatomic ions. So it's coming as a package deal. So NH4 would be considered 1. The acetate ion would be considered 1, and therefore you have 2. In this case, you have barium and a nitrate. Okay, and you have 2 nitrates, so 1 plus 2 equals 3. Okay, and as you go along, you'll see, to make sure that you're paying attention to those coefficients that are behind or next to the ion. I'm not really sure why I did that. Okay. Let's go back. Okay, if you have any more questions, let me know. Hopefully this video works.